Truth is context, and context is sanity. I've been an Offspring fan since about 2003, graduating class of '07. I went to a small rural Minnesota high school. Gloomy nu metal and post-grunge were extremely popular, but emo was also becoming more prominent. I don't want to criticize any of those bands, but I was exhausted by the mindset that seemed to be dominating at the time. For those unaware, encountering new music in the early 2000s was a lot more difficult than it is today, especially using dial-up internet living in a small town with no record store. But anyway, my two favorite bands were Slipknot and System of a Down. It was toward the end of the school year in 8th grade. I heard that song Bullet with Butterfly Wings by Smashing Pumpkins, and that's the song that kind of broke me of my defeatism. It had a determination to it that's hard to describe. It was like, yeah, things suck, but we're gonna win. We're gonna make it work. Determination was perhaps the word. That's what I needed most. So I went digging into their catalog, but couldn't really find another song that scratched the itch. I knew of your song Self-Esteem at that time, which gave me a similar feeling, but I avoided listening to it because, to be honest, The Offspring scared me. I'll explain. A couple weeks later, a friend burned me a copy of Americana, which is an album I had avoided a couple years earlier because the album artwork freaked me out so much. I was too young to understand the statement you were making with that album in 6th grade, and even at 15 I was too young to really get it. But by then I was old enough to appreciate the music. The album blew my mind in the sense that every single song gave me that feeling I was chasing. The emotions I pulled from Americana were simultaneous sadness and determination, with a bit of sarcastic humor to sweeten the deal. I don't know what causes people to latch on to bands the way I did with yours. Perhaps it's something from the other side of the curtain, but in any case, my mindset changed forever. Admittedly, I became very frustrated with the post-grunge aesthetic that was so popular at my school. I was excessively critical of a lot of it. Slower stuff like Nickelback or Creed or whatever. Bands that didn't have any fast songs, let alone boatloads of them. I didn't want to be a downer. I wanted to get up and go, and I wanted more people to get it. But back then I didn't know how to pick people up or empower them the way your music empowered me. I kept developing and changing, having dozens of second favorite bands. I learned the drums, then the guitar, then slowly started making my own albums. Eventually I dug into Bad Religion, which I couldn't put my finger on at first. The music was fast and often ambitious, but oftentimes it was gloomier than anything I'd ever heard. I didn't like their logo, but I thought the music was pretty good most of the time. I was very critical of their lyrics, but continued listening to them anyway, long into adulthood. Nobody in my high school really knew who they were, at least I never saw t-shirts or hoodies. Same for NoFX. Even the biggest indie punk bands were totally obscure in that area at that time. I remember combing over the Offspring's lyrics meticulously to try and find things that I disagreed with or that bothered me. I was especially looking for lyrics that might be anti-God since I went to church group on Wednesdays. It felt like Bad Religion was trying to talk me out of that, and I was looking for reassurance that you guys, my favorites, weren't doing the same thing. There was nothing in your lyrics that seemed to be persuading me out of my faith, so I doubled down on being an Offspring fan. You guys had my back. Then, when some of my friends started smoking pot, I remembered your song Mota, and the lyrics from The Kids Aren't Alright. Those songs made pot seem slow and lousy to me. I was hungry for the get off your butt mindset. I guess that's the main point of my video. I just wanted to thank you for being that. In adulthood, I've become a somewhat prolific songwriter. I got really into lo-fi tape recording and actually did a grungy cover of All Along on my 3rd Christmas album. It's a 6-part series so far. Anyway, you guys and the fans are crazy important to me, so I thought it was important to share. When my life got really difficult and I hit rock bottom, I did a kind of surrender and worked a program of recovery. I learned that my words and actions matter profoundly, and that even though I don't usually see their effect immediately, we impact each other's lives immensely and in ways far beyond our immediate understanding. So when I comb over all the lyrics that could have easily persuaded me to go down a worse path than I did, I'm thankful that The Offspring doesn't seem to glorify self-destruction, anti-theism, or drug indulgence the way so many others do. I became a fanatic music listener and collector. A lot of people are saying a lot of bad things. I spent my teens and 20s under the impression that a song's lyrics and ideas had no real effect on me, but I see now that those songs powerfully affected my thinking, identity, and sense of belonging. Sometimes for better, sometimes for worse. I've become very careful about what I say and what I'll listen to. I probably speak for at least a handful of fans when I say that Hanging by a Thread is a profoundly relatable song for this day and age. I've been listening to that and Trust in You quite a bit lately, among others. I wanted to thank you for not disparaging God or spirituality in your lyrics, because that's the thread I'm hanging by these days. But finding the humility to revisit and develop faith has been about the most rewarding maneuver I've ever made. I'm not afraid of death or aging the way I was before, and I've actually come to believe that the best is yet to come, which is something I never thought I'd say in a million years. But going through life has become a lot more wonderful. You guys, I think I could have easily died if I was even slightly more negative. So thanks for being so empowering. In adulthood, I've also learned how to build people up authentically using the program of recovery. It's actually the same old emotions I pulled from Americana: sadness and determination, overdose and willingness. Hey, let me know if you see this. I'll try to record my Leave It Behind cover soon.
Turn yours back.